God, I didn't have my stuff open. Howdy,
Why I love
howlers.
live.
Yes. Um, Today we are kicking off the second season of Sako and the Moon. Um, it's another episode of Sako and the Moon created by two self-published horror authors. Today we are talking about book launches. Okay, I am Sako Toomey, artist and author and a bunch of other things, but I'll just, as far as it is applicable here, I am a self-published author 3 times over. I've been working on my craft for decades, and now I'd like to share my skills with you guys.
I am Dewan L. Hearn, more affectionately known as the Moon. I do all kinds of the things that involves the pen. We obviously podcast. I am a one-time published horror author, an award-winning screenwriter, which is still weird to say. Um, and yeah, we just do the things. And I love horror, and so we do the things with horror.
Yeah,
All right,
all the things, all the
and I drink the
things.
red, unsponsored.
I'm drinking water. Thank you, Wegmans. So we are talking about book launches. Basically celebrations, exciting way to celebrate the release of your book and connect with readers, friends, and fellow authors. So here is a step-by-step guide on how to organize and execute a successful in-person book launch. First off, choose a venue.
Important.
Select a venue that suits the theme and tone of your book launch. This could be a bookstore, a library, a cafe, an art gallery, or any other space that can accommodate your expected number of guests. Number 2, set a date and time. Pick a date and time for your book launch event, ideally around the release of your book. Consider factors such as your target audience's availability and any competing events in your area.
Very important. Very, very
Um,
important.
Number 3, and there are only 11 steps, so yeah. Plan the program. Okay, so outline a schedule of events for your book launch. So this may include author readings, which I recommend, Q&A sessions, book signings, networking opportunities, refreshments, stuff like that. Make sure to allocate enough time for each activity and allow for flexibility in case of unexpected delays.
Unexpected things will happen. They
Mm,
will. I didn't know how
mm-hmm.
much you wanted to get into that list before I jumped in, but I did want to touch on
Oh,
a couple of things
please.
because I did forget. Before I will forget, because I will. Picking a venue is super, super important. If you have a horror novel where a bunch of crazy things happen, a church or a Christian bookstore probably isn't the choice for you.
Mm-hmm.
I know that kind of seems the obvious, but a lot of times we go for what's closest to us or what might give us the cheapest rate. And so we really want to take some time to think this through. This is your book. You didn't publish it just for kicks. You published it in the end to make money. This is indeed a business. So you want to make sure that these things are conducive with each other. If I can make a suggestion, you may not have a horror bookstore like we do in Louisville, Kentucky. It was a bookstore specifically for horror. Um, but I will suggest finding a local bookstore because chances are they'll be the most flexible with you. And I mean, someone local helping someone else local, someone independent helping someone else independent. It doesn't have to be a big Barnes and Noble release or nothing like that. Keep it simple, keep it smart, make sure it all works, But picking that venue is like where it really starts. There's a lot
And
that can go wrong if you pick the wrong venue.
make sure that if you have a head count, like a predetermined head count of friends and family and stuff like that, that they can all fit inside said venue, and then expect more than that, right?
Yeah.
So people will, like, who will walk in and be like, "Ooh, this looks good. I want to talk to this author." So, yeah. Uh, Date and time close to your release that actually takes your audience into account. This goes for online things too, I'll note, um, in the sense that most people are gonna buy your book over the weekend. Um, and that is usually when people have their availability, is like Friday evenings into Sunday night.
Yeah.
Um,
And think about the weekends and like she mentioned, the other events that are
Other
going on.
events.
If you've got a major sports team and like the big game or some game that they're involved, or you're in the middle of football or basketball, or if baseball's bigger where you are in baseball season, probably not to plan a book signing during a big game. Playoffs you
Yeah,
can't really control, but if it's like the regular season kind of stuff, be mindful of that. If a lot of people are at church on Sundays through a certain period of time, probably not the best time to have your book launch. People are
yeah,
going to have they're going to go to their services. Um, and remember, you're thinking about them, not you. So if you may
right.
not attend sports events or go to church or whatever, or if your church service isn't on Sunday morning, someone else's is. And that's who you're focusing on, is the clientele. Your focusing is on your market. Those are the people who are going to be attending. Those are the
Hmm.
things to keep in mind.
Absolutely. Planning the program. I like to do a reading. I like to make a deal with like a musician that I know and feature their music if it has to do with the theme of my book, which oftentimes it does. Because I listen to music when I write, so I will often feature the musician that I was writing to as part of the party. Q&A sessions. I like to do mine less as a Q&A and more like a trivia sort of situation, because they may know me, they may not know me, and that is a fun way of getting people to get to know you. Book signings, networking opportunities, refreshments, snacks, maybe have like a food truck come by, or like a catering, something simple.
Yeah.
You don't like, this isn't lunch that we're serving. This is just like, you know,
It's
a little
tacos, not
something,
three-course meals.
right?
And that's all, again, is one of those really important things, especially because our market is independent, right? So we always talk about the Omni hat. We're the one handling everything. So we don't have the big machine behind us. And if you're like most of us, you don't have a big money machine behind you either. There's not a lot of money in your pocket for it. So partnering up with small and local uh, entities, local music groups, local venues, local food trucks, not only are they going to likely be cheaper on you, but chances are they're going to be a lot more willing to work with you because they are thinking the same thing. We keep talking about networking. We will keep talking about networking and marketing. That's a
And
big part.
these are
This
the
is a
kinds of
big part
people.
of being independent. And
Mm-hmm.
you do it well. And if you've done, mind all your P's and Q's, dotted your T's and crossed your I's, then these are going to be the people who remember that. And the next launch, they will be a lot more willing to work with you. Anything else you do, they'll be a lot more willing to do it. And they'll remember you when they do things and when they hear
Yes.
about events. They'll be like, hey, I know this other author is doing the same thing. Why don't you talk to them? See if you can network in like this broader event or like a festival or something. Or, if a food truck says, hey, we just signed up to do a book festival. Have
Yeah.
you talked to these people? You might sell a few copies. I mean, in the end, plan to sell a few copies. That's the goal. That's the name of the game. So
That's
yeah,
the name of the
remember
game.
your networking, all part of marketing. Everything is connected. Think it through.
Think it through. Number 4, promote your event. Spread the word about your book launch through multiple channels, including social media, email newsletters, uh, author website, local media outlets, posters and flyers in relevant locations. Like if you can make visually appealing graphics and promotional materials to grab attention and generate excitement, then have a designer do it for you. And it helps to know a designer in your back pocket. Uh, Case in point, I am one of those designers. So, if you and I am happy to take clients and as far as doing campaigns and stuff like that for other authors. So, drop us an email, and all my information is in the description, and you can, we'll work something out.
Drop a like while you're down there, while you're reading it. Go ahead and hit the like button. Go
While
ahead and
you're
do it.
reading.
Do it right now, as a matter of fact. Bing. But seriously, as we talked about networking, and we talk about it in almost every single episode because it's that big a deal. When you are wearing all the hats, it's so important to find someone else who has a similar hat. Or if there is a hat that doesn't quite fit your head very well, like if you're not good at designing, find someone who does wear a really good designer
Delegate.
hat. Yes, because
Delegate.
when you make these friends, you end up they become friends more than just partners. And you can easily ask your buddy, "Hey, I'm working on this. Can you help me out?" They're like, "I got some extra time. I got you." You should be mindful of their services and how much their services are valued, but at the same time, they'll be more willing to do these things for their friends just as much as they would be for just a random client. Same thing with her Q&A idea. I love that idea because I like to buy things from people I like. If I like you as a person, I'm more likely to buy something and actually
Yeah,
spend the money
absolutely.
on it. So the more
Absolutely.
people like you, more personable you are, the more that the networking, the marketing, and the sales, they will come kind of almost automatically.
And this goes for both extroverts and introverts.
Hmm.
You can be an introvert and still be likable. So, like,
Yeah.
just to make a point of it, you can, like, if you don't like standing in front of people and talking, you can take a video and just kind of like hide in the corner while the video is playing.
Yeah.
Or, there are all kinds of like, problem solving that you can do when it comes to being around a lot of people and also promoting your work.
Most introverts have extroverted friends.
That too.
I have a friend of mine, um, wonderful friend Michelle Black. If I ever needed someone to just be the MC at an event, guarantee you she will take care of the personability part. Um, she's loud and bubbly, and she will handle that so well on her own. While you hang out at at your table with your books, and you can just handle it from there. If you're at a venue like a local bookstore, the owner might take over for you or do something of that nature, or might just know somebody. If you're friends with a band, the lead singer might handle be the MC of your event. Well, realistically, you're probably holding an online event where you're going live on social media and you're having people jump in there. So there isn't anyone to actually interact or deal with except for no more than what we're doing right now. And if you're that
Right.
introverted, you can still put your stuff out. You can still have a book launch. You can still have a successful book launch without having to bump shoulders with everybody.
Right.
Still a thing.
Right. Exactly. That I mentioned possibly recording your presentation, but if you are intending on doing it live, you should practice it. If you plan to give a reading or a presentation at the book launch, rehearse your speech and familiarize yourself with the material. I mean, it's all stuff that you know, but you don't want to talk about your book and be like, it's about this and this and this and this happens and this happens and this and this and this and this. That's not what we're looking
Too
for.
much.
Um,
Yeah.
so practice speaking clearly and engagingly to captivate your audience and leave a lasting impression.
A positive,
Um,
lasting impression.
a positive. Oh, I can
Because
talk
I
about
mean,
like not so positive.
because there's a thing. You can. There's some people I've met at events, and let's just say they left a lasting impression on me, and I am probably less likely to do business if given the option. Um, but when people are getting to know you, especially if you're like I've only got one book out, so if I was to introduce myself to the mass at one time, and I'm really kind of quiet and reserved and not really, looking at anyone. I'm the quiet dude in the corner, and that's not really personable. So you kind of want to leave a really good, lasting impression, preferably a positive one, because again, people buy things from people they like. Some
Mhm.
people, and I'll talk about myself, I will spend more money on a person I like rather than the cheap deal from someone I don't know.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of people who will work with you like that. They will connect with you. So know your work, know your material, keep it simple, and just learn to speak out. And if it's not you, let's find someone who is capable of doing it for you.
Yeah. Delegate. Yes,
Delegate.
more of that delegating. Number 8, on the day of, you gotta set up. You can at the venue, you can conscript some of your friends to help you set up, decorations and let's see, what did I write here? Arrive early on the day of to set up the venue and arrange seating, signage, promotional displays, etc. Test audio visual equipment and ensure that everything is in place for a smooth and successful book launch.
Yes. And this is where open communication comes in. If you have a venue like a local bookstore or some other small hall, one of the most important questions is to ask, what do they have that they can lend you? Do they have tables? Do they have chairs? If you're having refreshments, do they allow food in their space? I mean, there's a very good reason why a bookstore may not want you to have open cup drinks, you know, because they have paper books all over the place.
Yeah,
Um, and that's one of the things you don't want to do day of is realize that you're going to have everybody sitting back for a reading. There's no chairs. Or you have to bring your own tables and now you're scrambling 3 hours before the event trying to find tables. That's not an easy task. So one of the
either
questions,
tables or places to put those tables or
yeah,
you
like in
you
the
know
end, you gotta, like when I said think it through. These are the things I mean when I say think it through. Um, are people going to just stand around and mingle? Do they have space to do that? Does the venue already have tables and chairs in positions, and now they can't really mingle and walk past? That's also a thing. So be mindful of your space and what your program entails and make sure that everything lines up. Do a personal walkthrough, pretend, act. Uh, oh, I'm here. I have a drink. Where am I walking? You know, do they have facilities like bathrooms? Dear God, make sure they have bathrooms. Some spaces just ask. Ask questions.
Ask.
Don't be afraid to ask questions. Be sure to ask questions. In the end, ask questions. You, it sounds like simple things that you might think are just dismissible. Ask the question. Ask the question.
Depending on the venue, they may give advice. Like, they may be like, give you kind of like a heads up on what an event there might mean, what an event
Hmm.
there might constitute. Like, this is what we typically do. How would it differ? And they would ask, how would it differ uh, with your event?
Yeah, because if it's a small venue like a general hall, they may do a lot of music events, right? But you don't have you may or may not have a band and putting on a show. You're a reader. You're going to do like a reading, and you're going to have people walking about and not necessarily standing, and not everybody's going to want to stand. I don't like to stand a whole long time. I got a bad knee, so so I'm going to look for a spot to sit down where I can still enjoy what's happening. They might be used to
Mm-hmm.
one thing. You might be doing something different. Just make sure you take the time to ask the questions and make sure things line up for you.
Absolutely. Now, last session, last podcast episode, we talked about engaging with your guests, engaging with your readers, and this applies to in-person things as well. So, welcome attendees as they arrive and take time to chat with them, sign books, answer any questions they may have about your book. Encourage guests to mingle and network with each other, fostering a sense of community and camaraderie. So, again, like I think I mentioned in the very beginning, um, readers, friends, fellow authors are the kinds of people that you want to invite to such an event.
Mhm.
So, if they don't know each other, which could be the case, yeah, encourage them to get to know each other.
And a lot of authors will do that. A lot of authors will go just because I went to a book launch for a local author here in Louisville, and that's why. I mean, I'm a local author. She's a local author. Why wouldn't I go? It's one of those things to see and be seen in some cases. I mean, there's nothing that you can do that's more supportive than, in some cases, than just being present. The fact that you took time out of your day to show up, which reminds you that if other people are doing book launches, I mean, don't cancel date night or your kid's baseball game for it. But the time and there's other authors in your area who are doing events, go. Ask to go. If it's open to the public, buy a ticket. Go. Like actually buy a ticket. Like just do the thing. Because
Hmm.
being seen and seeing and being, a part of that world, that's it's important to the field. It's important to the genre, to the space of being an independent author. Because all we got is ourselves and each other. We don't have that big money machine like we keep talking about. We don't have the big name publishers behind us. All we have are each other. And the independent music scene works the same way. Interact, mingle, talk, become friends, socialize outside of the spaces so that when these events do come up, you might have a friend that you've connected with that's done 3 or 4 launches. They're the perfect person to say, hey, I'm going to launch for my first book. What do I do? That's the first person you should ask in person. Otherwise, you should have asked us and watched this episode because we're telling you now.
Okay. Number 10. Capture the moment. So consider hiring a photographer or a videographer to document the book launch event. Uh, Capture candid moments, author interactions, and guest reactions to preserve memories and create content for future promotional efforts. Uh, Again, so I happen to have a videographer friend and photographer buddy who like I can just be like, hey, let's do a thing, and he's up for it. So depending on the kinds of friends you have, you might be able to convince them to help you in documenting the event. Um, should you not have it in the budget for a photographer, or like your boss's son who fiddles around with a camera, I wouldn't advise doing that. But if you struggle to actually get the uh event documented, you could do the 90s wedding thing, in that you get the little disposable cameras and you put them at the tables, and then they are super, like, uh you basically get the audience, the other authors, the other readers, the friends, and people who just wander in will take it upon themselves to become the photographers. And yeah, half of the pictures will be garbage, but every once in a while you might actually have some shots that are usable. If you manage to work with a photographer, videographer, whatever, who is a professional, make sure you get a release so that you can use the stuff for promotional work.
And it's a
Um,
business, not just socials. It's a business. They're doing a
th-
business too. That's why it's
they're
important.
doing a business too. You need a release. Paperwork basically that says, yes, indeed, you can use these photos for promotional use. Um, So that is something to discuss with your photographer ahead of time.
Yeah.
Um,
Common
you
misconception. They take the picture. The pictures belong to them. It's a picture of you. It's your event. The pictures belong to the photographer. It is their essentially intellectual property. So it's their
mhm,
property. They own the rights to the image. So they have to get the releases. You have to get the release so that you have the rights to utilize their images for your business. We think in a very social media kind of way. If if she took a picture of me, the picture's of me, so I have the right to do what I want to with it. That's not how that works. That's not how
right,
any of that works. So
right.
remember that this is still a business and you're dealing with other people who are doing business. So handle things in a business way. I also want to throw out that if you don't want to go the 90s route, because most of the people who are watching shows like this weren't alive in the 1990s,
Oh, good point.
do it in a more modern way. Set up an Instagram account for your book
Or a hashtag.
and do a hashtag and then have everyone use the hashtag, have them tag the book's account. And then if it's like your account, then you can do your account. Like you could tag, DL Hearn Writes, and then have all the pictures for my event tagged to me with whatever hashtag I have. Or like I said, create a certain account for that and use it for solely that promotion of that book. And have everyone tag that account and use the hashtag and then promote that in your promotionals. When you have your flyer, have that, you've created a hashtag on the bottom of your promotional stuff. Have it
Mhm.
on the flyers, have it on the tables, have it around. I'm not sure what the QR codes would go to, but hell, do a QR code and put it around the room. I mean, these are all more 2024 level things that most people are into. And they may not be able to do a damn thing with a camera, but with their camera phone and Instagram and all their filters and TikToks and all that kind of stuff, people are just magical. So if that's
Agreed.
the if that's the cheaper route, they already got their phones on them. They're probably already taking pictures and selfies while they're there. Just have them use that particular hashtag and connect everything later on through that.
Absolutely. I did that at my wedding. I had a hashtag. People did it on Facebook, on Instagram, and Twitter, and it was a blast. Like being able to go back and look at the hashtag and all the photos, all the videos, all the content that people made, and people care about the content that they make on their phones.
Yes, they do.
S-
They're gonna
So,
make you look really good, as best as their iPhone 5000 will let them, or whatever. But like I
mhm.
said, it'd be fun for them because now they have, especially if you have like things set up or spots around to do it, give them a reason to do it. Get them engaged. Get them to want to be involved, to want to be at this table, to have pictures with you using the hashtag or whatever you're comfortable with. Do all
Yeah.
the things. Do the
Mhm.
things. Do the things. What we do here.
I'll I'll also note that I had a grand time. I made achievements, like gamer type achievements that had to do with the event that encouraged people to interact with each other. Because it was all the circles, right? And those circles didn't necessarily know each other. And this was for 100 people. So, like getting those people to interact with each other is, it, like it's super helpful. And especially if they network and get to know each other and stuff like that. Um, it's also super fun to watch them try to fulfill the achievements. So if you have that photographer or you're taking pictures with your phone, stuff like that, take pictures. It's super fun.
Get
Uh,
involved. Like this is your
get
book.
involved.
And if you're a writer, this is your book.
Hmm.
And this does go, I know I talk about film because I'm also a filmmaker. This works for film launches too. I remember I went to the premiere of One Must Fall, and there was
Oh.
creatures and such, and so they had like a little photo spot where you could take a picture. My wife and I were completely overdressed, and we're sitting here in our suit and dress with these zombies. It's great because
Yeah,
because why not? It's supposed to be fun, and if you're doing all this as an independent and it's not fun, just stop.
just don't
Just
do it.
just just don't. Um,
It's a
there are a
party.
lot of
Like,
great retail stores, a lot of great office jobs where you can get some sort of validation and satisfaction. If you're not enjoying what you're doing, it's not to do, in my opinion. And take that how you want to. But I write because I love to write. We do film because we love to film. We do our thing, and it becomes our thing because it's our thing. And these should be not just business events. Shouldn't just be, well, I have to
right,
go to this marketing event, da 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 da, pass out some business cards and whatever. These should be
right.
fun. Sako and I have not stopped talking about Imaginarium. And we mention it a lot because it's the convention we both met at. But I've also heard her constantly talking about Balticon and these other conventions, these other things that she's doing, and we talk about them and all the fun we're going to have while we're there. The work is part of the thing, but there is so much fun to have at these events that if you're not having a good time, why bother? So make them fun. Make sure your event is fun for you and for everyone else there. You should be seen having a ball, laughing, cheering, and celebrating. It's a celebration of the culmination of all the energy you've put into this project. You spent all this time writing, all this time editing, getting book covers made, and trying to find out how to get it. You put in all that work. You deserve the celebration because just putting something out, finishing a screenplay, making a film, releasing a book, all of those things are not easy tasks. And there's a lot of people who want to do them and just won't. If you did, damn it, you did. Celebrate that. Celebrate all of it. And then do the things.
And then do the things.
Do the things. I'm telling you, if all the fun stuff that we've been talking about actually starts happening, we can actually do that in a few weeks at Imaginarium. Oh, you guys are going to have a great time too. I
Yeah.
promise.
Okay, lastly, follow up. So after the book launch, you can send like this says to send thank you notes, but that's kind of archaic at this point. Just kind of like pop them in an email or a message on Messenger or something like that and thank them for coming and anything that they did while at the event. Expressing gratitude for their support and participation. Share the photos and highlights from the event on your social media channels and other website to extend the reach and the impact of the book launch.
I cannot convey it anymore. People will bend over backwards for people they like. So be likable. And one of the most likable things a person can do is show gratitude. It's as simple as saying thanks. I mean, I feel like I'm, you know, you all know this. If you're watching this, you know what I'm talking about. You know what it's like to have done something for someone and then they just kind of forgot that you did it. They just
Mm-hmm.
expected you to do it. They didn't show any gratitude. They didn't like. So at your event, the people who are doing something for you, who are like essentially working, please walk up to them, look them straight in the face, and say, "Hey, thank you so much. This means so much to me. I appreciate you." Did I tell you personally? I'll do anything for my friends, but when they show you that appreciation and come to you and say thanks, I'm twice as quick to do it again. Twice as
Mm-hmm.
quick to do it again. And the other people you're working with, other photographers, bands, food truck owners, venue owners, these people will bend over backwards for you just because you were grateful. You know, if you have a contract and it says pay X number of dollars for X number of time, amount of hours, and you do it and the contract's done, that's cool. But that extra thank you, that follow up, that public thank you when you're showing gratitude on social media, if that's a thing, you that public thank you, that that means a lot. It means so much to people. So I would you should already have a list as you're getting yourself organized of who all is doing things for you. I would personally do that thank you separately from
Yeah,
your public thank you for all the people who attended, because the people who attended did one thing great for you. People who essentially worked for you, they
yeah,
did something else great for you. And you're showing two different levels of gratitude in that moment. So I would do them separately. Like, hey, this
that's
wonderful
valid.
photographer who captured this moment for me, this musician who was so kind to do this and work this DJ or band, whatever the situation was. Thank them. Take that time. Take that moment. This will, again, like I said, make you so much more likable. And this is what the overall spiel is for. The whole thing is to be part of the community. We are in a writing community, a creative community, and we could run on lists miles long. We could spend an entire hour talking about the other creatives that we interact with on a regular basis, and still have to go to like a separate episode to do it again. And
Mhm.
all of these people will probably bend over backwards for us because they like us. And we've become likable people. And we do the same for them. Don't let your relationships be one sided. Be as willing to go to them and help them as they were to come for you. Please take that time. It's all part of the gig. It's one of those hats. It's part of the job on the Omni hat. You just have to do all the things. Those are the things in all of the things.
Mhm.
Do the things.
Do the things. So, book launching. If you are launching your first book, if you are launching your debut, I say go balls to the wall. Like, it's kind of like a birthday. It's a book birthday, right?
Author
So,
birth. That's when you go
in,
from being a writer to an author, my personal opinion.
mm-hmm.
That first one's a memorable one.
Okay, so we got a few more minutes to talk about this sort of thing. So, content like materials that you might want to have on your table at the launch. Um, Bookmarks are like business cards. For one, you don't need 2,000, but also it is something that is usable by the reader and also might have the QR code to whatever content that you want them to know concerning the book. Um, Stickers, postcards for signatures, which means have space for your signature. That would be wise. Um, Marketing promos are fun, but don't spend too much money. Uh, take I recommend taking the week of that launch off because like that launch is going to take a lot out of you. And you just went through the gamut regarding actually putting together a book and releasing it on your own. So yeah, like if you can't take off on your day job, if you have, if you're a night writer or whatever, um, then I say go ahead and work, but um, don't work on any of your writing for that week.
Yeah.
Um, that is also um, we talked about this before, but don't read your reviews. Have a friend read them and then have them tell you what they say. I advise doing that just in case there are people who read outside of your genre, um, which happens a lot in that there are some people who will read outside of their genre or out of your genre and then give you a bad, like, a 1-star review because the book wasn't for them. And that's not fair to you. So rather
I personally,
than,
go ahead.
sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, finish your thought. I got it.
What thought?
Good. That's why I was trying to like set it back. I know how we can both be. We're both like this. We're both like if we get interrupted, I try like, no, no, go ahead, finish. And I lose it. I lose it. I think I lost what I was going to interrupt you to say.
I strongly recommend after that week that you take off, you start work on the second book. If you are doing a series or you're doing another standalone, I recommend starting that book as quickly as possible. Um, you should also send thank you gifts to your editor and maybe your agent if you have one. I know a lot of self-published authors that have agents so that they can be featured in all kinds of all kinds of ways. So maybe one day we'll do a thing on agents, but um, don't sign up too much. Don't sign up too many arcs. That is
Advanced reader copies.
yes.
Took me forever to learn what the arc was. That's
And
why I said it.
so the way ARCs work is that they are free copies that you give certain people so that they can write reviews, honest reviews. And because reviews are king, right? So I would encourage people to leave a review at your book launch, by the by. Even though they have a paper copy, they should go on Amazon and actually review the book. Or Goodreads or
Goodreads is. I was going to suggest Goodreads.
any.
If you
Mhm.
didn't buy the book from Amazon, you can leave the review, but it won't have the same impact for other readers if you're not like a verified buyer. You might just come across like someone who knows. So the review might seem biased, but on somewhere like Goodreads, Goodreads doesn't care where you bought the book. You just had to read it. Uh, so if you bought it from a bookstore like a Barnes and Noble or get it from Amazon, leave the review there. Um, Also, if your problem with the book has to do with the shipping and the delivery, because like the delivery guy left your package out in the rain, that's not the author's fault. The review is a reflection of the author. Don't leave that review. Contact customer service. Tell customer service about what happened if it has to do with the facilitator of the book, your Barnes and Noble, your Amazon. I read a lot of product reviews and a lot of the complaints are the box got thrown on my porch or it was left out in the rain or something. I've had a book left out in the rain before. That's not the author's fault. That's Amazon's fault. But they didn't know I had a book in there, so my package got wet. So this is like be mindful of what you're placing the review for, uh, and don't be a jerk. Don't be a jerk. I've read a book. I tried to read a book outside of my typical genre, and I just haven't said anything about it. I don't mention the author's name because this is
Yeah.
not a condemnation of the author. It's just it was a fantasy book. I don't read a lot of fantasy personally, and so when you get into a new series and there's a lot of world building, um, I lose track. Sometimes the fantasy names are interesting to say the least. And if you're not used to those kinds of name structures, then you're just like, what is a Slarty Bartfast, which is not a fantasy name, it's a sci-fi name. But um, those are the kind of things that just didn't click with me. So the review I left doesn't
Right.
exist because I didn't leave one because I'm not going to criticize an author and make them look less than because I wasn't into what they read, not because it was poorly structured or poorly edited or because the story had too many plot holes. Those kind of things, please mention, because we need to be aware of those kind of things as authors. That's why honest reviews are so important. But don't be a jerk. Just don't be a jerk.
Yeah.
Trolling, leave the trolls for the fantasy novels. Don't be one. It's fine.
So, to recap, we got choose your venue. Uh, I have a venue in mind for my. I have a book that I never did a launch for, and I will probably do a launch for an in-person launch at some juncture. That would be ideal.
I
2,
probably
set a
should too.
date and time. Mm-hmm. Uh, 3, plan the program. 4, promote your event. 5, arrange logistics. Did I ever talk about logistics?
We
Did I
didn't.
skip that?
You may have. Yeah, I think you did. So real quick, what do you mean by
Oh
the
wow,
logistics?
there's a whole bunch of stuff yeah. Okay, so number 5, arrange logistics. Take care of logistical details such as booking the venue, securing necessary permits if applicable, arranging for audio-visual equipment like microphones, speakers, projectors, and organizing catering if you are providing food and drink.
I think you brushed on that one and missed other things, and that might be why you skipped it on the page. Because you kind of you brushed
Um,
on that. You didn't read it like that, but you touched on that. That's when we started talking about food trucks.
also prepare your materials. We were just like mentioning like books left out in the rain and things that can go wrong when you order your books and stuff like that. So, um ensure that you have sufficient copies of your book available for sale at the event, as well as any promotional materials such as bookmarks, postcards, merchandise related to your book. Consider offering special incentives or discounts to attendees to encourage book purchases.
And attendance. If they are going to buy it
And
for
attendance.
$20 online, they can get it 15 bucks from you at the event. That's the thing. Um, for the book launch that I had mentioned, for the pre-order, there were stickers and carabiners and little things like that that came in the package, uh, or like a little gift bag when they were pre-purchased for pre-orders. So if you manage to figure out how to do that, people who put their orders in and Cash App, PayPal, whatever your situation was, give them a little extra. You throw in. People love stickers. Grown people love stickers. I love stickers. You can't see the back of my laptop right now. It's filled with stickers. I love stickers.
I
So if you
love
think that
stickers.
if you have a horror novel and you're gearing your stuff towards like older adults, and you don't think that they're gonna like snatch up all your stickers, like Sako said before, you don't need 1,000 stickers. You don't need 1,000 stickers. There are
200?
a lot of places online where you
Yeah.
can get 50, 100. Get some stickers. They're relatively cheap. I mean, we might be making some stickers for some designs in corners one day in the future. We might. Who knows?
Well, we
But
we technically have a sticker on our shop.
oh, a shop. What shop, Sako?
We have a shop with all kinds of merchandise, including stickers. Uh, and I don't. You can find it on Dwan, or excuse me, on the Moon's website, which is featured down below there under media,
DuanLHearn.com. All linked.
dwanelhearn.com.
All there.
And you can get to the shop from there, and then you can see all the goodies like
Lots
backpacks
of
and
good.
t-shirts and stickers and all kinds of cool stuff. So please to be checking it out.
But all that to say that it doesn't take a whole lot. Just a little extra bonuses, incentives, have people show up. They'll show up for the incentives. They'll show up for the taco truck if you talk somebody into having a taco truck there. They'll show up. They just will. People like free stuff. And stickers are great. Bookmarks are obvious and practical.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like I said, offer it for a discount. Like Sako said, offer it for a discount. People will show up just for that.
Yep. So, how do we feel about today's podcast? Do we feel
I
we
think it
taught
was
it?
incredibly informative. I
Yes.
feel like this is the kind of episode that's important because we talk about everything in the beginning of the process, right? The planning, the plotting, knowing the character, working characters. We talk about writing things out and finding proper editors or, not editing ourselves because we're going to miss things. Just trust me, you will find an editor. And we talk about all those things and it's all the work, 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 work. There has to be something to say, we did it. A time to say we did it. To celebrate
Yes.
the fact that we did it. Because a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people will tell you, because that's what they told me when I released my first. They're like, hey, you did it. You
You
did the
did it.
thing. And that's
Mm-hmm.
that by itself is worth celebration. It could be the worst book on the planet. But you know what?
You
The
did it.
worst book on the planet is still a book that's been released. Somebody hasn't released a book. So you still did one up on them. You might be number 200 on the top 200 list, but there's a 201 because they never bothered to write it. At least you bothered to write it. And that is something to celebrate all by itself.
All by
Having a
itself.
book launch, which I'll admit I didn't do. I thought about it, but I didn't do a book launch. My book came out in December. Is it too late for do a book launch?
Never.
Never. But you know what? We're
Never.
still gonna celebrate that bloody book. We're gonna.
We're gonna.
We're gonna.
Yes.
Season 2 of Sako and the Moon is gonna be so much more fun. We know what we're doing now. We're in it.
We're in it. We're in it
We're
to
in it.
win it.
So
Okay.
hang on. There's
So,
gonna be a lot of stuff to do.
yeah. So, if you liked this video at any point, I encourage you to hit the like button. And if you want to see more episodes like this one, you can usually find us on Friday afternoons at 2 p.m. Eastern. And you might want to subscribe and maybe even ring that bell on the off chance that YouTube actually notifies you when we go live or post a video or whatever.
You're
And
gonna
we will
want to
catch
you're
you.
gonna want to ring that bell. We got some stuff coming. You're gonna want
We
to be
got to,
informed. We got plans. You're gonna
we,
want to be informed.
you're gonna
This
want to be.
season 2, I'm telling you, man. We got
It's
it. We got
gonna
it
be
coming.
bonkers.
We
It's
got it
gonna,
coming. Especially near the end. You're gonna want to be here throughout the ride. You're definitely gonna want to be here at the end. Guaranteed.
yes, absolutely. We will catch you guys on the flip side.